Ms. Houchin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've heard a lot of words tonight from our Democrats across the aisle. We've heard words like shameful and things don't smell right. Well, what I think is shameful is playing political games with these victims. What I think it doesn't smell right is only caring about these issues when campaigning on it. Democrats under Joe Biden had 4 years to release everything, and they didn't release a thing. Chairman Comer, you've now released more than 30,000 pages of documents related to the Epstein files. How many pages of documents were released under the Biden administration?
0.
You know how I know this is political gamesmanship? Because now, by amendment to unrelated bills in nearly each of our committees, the Democrats have put forward Epstein file amendments to unrelated things, including in the Rules Committee. That's not a serious effort in seeking transparency or justice. If they were serious about it, they would have already done it.
Absolutely.
Now it is House Republicans under your chairmanship and your leadership, Mr. Comer, providing the only transparency that anyone has done to date, save for the Trump administration and what they've already done. And it's only because of your work that we know the scope of the number of victims today. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And there are key differences between this resolution that we're considering in our committee and the Massey-Connor resolution. Mr. Chairman, does the Massey-Connor resolution request all documents from the Epstein estate related to Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell with a subpoena that has the force of law?
No, and we subpoenaed the estate for all the documents. That's not mentioned in the discharge petition.
Does this current resolution include requests that all documents related to the Epstein estate be released under subpoena with the force of law?
Our resolution does, yes.
Does the Massey-Connor resolution issue any deposition subpoenas for testimony?
No.
Does our resolution?
Yes, 11 thus far.
Does the Massey-Connor resolution request Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's bank records from the Treasury?
No.
Does our resolution?
Yes, and that's going to be a big deal. I will predict that will be a big deal, the bank records.
Does the Massey-Connor resolution require any interviews to be scheduled?
No.
Does our resolution?
Yes.
So forgive me if I'm suspicious of the motives of our colleagues who were silent on Epstein for 4 years. And one of the things that has been discussed today is, well, why not just do the Massey resolution? Well, I think we've laid out some of those reasons why, but also because doing this resolution allows your important work to continue right now without having to wait on the Senate to pass it or the President to sign it. Is that correct?
That's correct. I would hate to wait on the Senate for anything, but especially this. It would slow us down.
So the Democrats are cloaking themselves in the victimhood of the families and the young women that were heinously abused. That is beneath this committee. Their so-called concern only eventualized when they thought they could derail President Trump's agenda by using the Epstein files as a cudgel, when we know that the only administration to ever provide any transparency has been the Trump administration and House Republicans' leadership on the Oversight Committee.
Correct.
One of the things that I think disgusts me the most is when we talk about how Republicans are abandoning victims and we don't care about human trafficked women and children. When under the Biden administration, we know that the Department of Homeland Security lost track of thousands of migrant children. They failed to provide complete sponsor addresses for 31,000 accompanied minor children. Without sponsor addresses, law enforcement had no ability to track them. DHS officers under the Biden administration failed to enroll over 233,000 migrant children who crossed the border since January of 21 in immigration proceedings, increasing their risk of being human trafficked and exploited. Of the ones they did enroll, 43,000 failed to appear. Health and Human Services failed to provide updated sponsor information to DHS when sponsors changed addresses, further hindering DHS's ability to find children. So we know that law enforcement has extreme concerns about the way in which these children were handled under the Biden administration, but we haven't heard our Democrat colleagues express an ounce of concern for the 233,000 children that have been misplaced and 43,000 who just didn't appear. In fact, 24,100 migrant children of that number were placed with unrelated sponsors or distant relatives that law enforcement has concerned that these children are at higher risk of trafficking. I worked in child services. I know what stringent requirements are necessary for making sure that children who are in placement are protected. The Biden administration did none of that, and our Democrat colleagues have remained silent. I think that is horrible, absolutely horrible, to sit here today and lecture us on how we do or don't care about the victims of human trafficking when the Republicans are the only ones who've provided any transparency at all. I think it's despicable. Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I yield back.
Thank you very much. Mr. Langworthy, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that my colleague from Indiana, Mrs. Houchin, did a pretty brilliant job of going point by point through the massive